Welcome to Reader Programming. Let's Program. This is my second video. Yesterday we discussed installing the Java runtime as well as Juno, the latest Eclipse version. As promised, today we're going to discuss creating a new Java project in Eclipse, and we're going to create a very small Hello World program. Basically, what a Hello World program is just the basic of the basic. Let's get something put on the screen. We'll also discuss the most basic type of objects, and if we have time, we'll see if we can't go on and expand this a little bit. So, let's open up Eclipse. This takes but a moment. Alright, so now we have Eclipse opened, and we can then click on the Project Explorer. And now what we can do is, I believe we can either right click and go into New, Project. What we also can do is go over here to File, New, and here we also have a whole bunch of different types of projects that we can do. Right now we're going to just click Project. We're going to then click on Java Project. Again, this is a whole bunch of other things that you can do. If you're interested in Android development and you install the Android plugins given to you by downloadable by google.com, you'll also find the ability to create a new Java Android project. Fun stuff if you're interested in it. You can also do JavaScript in here, down here. But for right now, as I just said, we're just going to skip ahead to Java. So next. Here we have a whole bunch of different options. Right now we're going to give it a project name of Hello World. And here we can decide which Java version we want to use. 1.7 is currently the most advanced. 1.6 is also very heavily used. Depending on the project, you might just want to use the previous version. We're going to give 1.7 a try though today. I'm going to click Finish. Well, if you click Next, I never do, but if you click Next, you have the ability to, for example, import external jar files, basically other libraries from other companies. For example, if you're going to be doing stuff with a lot of SQL and you need to import the proper libraries to be able to access and control an SQL database, you would be doing it here, but there's also other places where you can do it. Basically, we're just going to click Finish now. Basically, it's just saying that we're in the wrong perspective and that we should open up the Java perspective. I mentioned that yesterday. just takes a moment. It takes a little bit longer for me as well because I'm using this in a virtual machine and the RAM count is a little low for what I'm doing. Alright, welcome to the Java perspective. We're basically, at least I'm going to be moving my stuff around here. Let's get started. We have our project here in the Package Explorer. The outline will be able to show you what is going on in whatever class you're in. Whole bunch of things down here, we'll get into that later. Let's start with Package Explorer. We have a source file, and then we have our library file. We're not too interested in what's down here. You could always open this up, take a look, but we're not really interested in that. So we're going to go to our source file, and we're going to right-click, and we need something called a package. A package is nothing more than a file in which all of your source code is going to go into. So let's click on New Package. In Java, in order to keep everything very orderly, basically what has been done is when you create a project, especially one that's going to be used in other projects from other people, what we generally do is use this type of name. It's your domain name backwards, so I'm going to type in com.reader.programming, and that's going to be my very basic first package. And then in this package I can always have even more packages to separate my GUI design, my user interface design, from my backend classes. And however you want to organize your package, well, maybe not better run, but the better it's going to be to find your stuff when it comes time. So we're going to click on Finish. Alright, so this is going to be our only package for this project because, as I have already said, this is just going to be a basic hello world. We need something called a class. Class is basically the object that you're going to be working on. So we're going to hit New Class. And we can give a name to this class. Sometimes I personally, for my root class, just put in main as the class name. I believe the real convention, though, is to use the project name for the entry point for your program. Following this convention, we're going to just type in hello world. It's good to know what convention you want to use, if you want to use main or if you want to use the project title. Pick a convention and stick to it. It'll make things easier in the long run. What we see here are the different security measures that this class can have. Public means that any class anywhere can access this. Default means that only other classes within your package, ComReader Programming, it's also up here, ComReader Programming, only the classes within this folder can access this class. Private is here invalid because it would mean that only this class can access this class. Really kind of stupid. Protected means that subclasses can access this class, but nothing else. Abstract means that it's an incomplete class. There's going to be methods declared, but we aren't going to say what exactly it's going to do, how it's going to do it. We just know what we're going to deliver back, what we're going to need to take as a parameter. Final means that this class is the last class in the line of hierarchy. Basically, you cannot inherit stuff from a final class. Pretty much means this is it. There's not going to be any further inheritance. Superclass, this is the class that we're going to be inheriting from. Everything in Java is an object, and we have to, at the very base minimum, have object as our superclass. Therefore, Eclipse gives it to us. But we do have the ability, for example, to type in JFrame if we want to have a window. We can type in JDialog if we want to have a dialog window. It's up to you and what you want to accomplish. Interfaces, I'm not going to get into right now because I think that that's too complicated. So what methods would we like to create? We definitely want to have a main. A main method is the entry point for your program. Constructors from superclass, I think we can get into that later. And inherit abstract methods means that anything that wasn't completed in the class above us, we have to do here. So, finish. Okay, this is the Hello World Java file. Java file means that it is a human readable text. This is there will later be a .class file made. .class is the bit file. So, what do we see here? We see the package for which this class is going to be placed, in which it's going to be placed. We have the name of the class. We see that it is public, meaning everybody can see it. It's a class, and it's called Hello World. This is a type of comment. It's a Java comment, and again, this is probably too much for this very basic tutorial video. It helps for documentation. That's all you need to know right now. This method right here is where the project is going to start. And this right here is a keyword, meaning we have to do something here. So, we can delete that. Just before I do, note that this blue line here, that just means that there's a to-do stub there. Helps you locate it. When you have a 300, 400 line class, it makes it a lot easier to find out where you have to go. A lot of times when I call it a night, I will put in a to-do stub so that I know right where I was the next morning. Alright, so we want to create a hello world. What the point of this is going to be is to spit out the words, literally, hello world. That's done incredibly easy. Going to call the system. A very cool thing with Eclipse is if you press Control and then the space bar, you then have a list generated with the possible things that you could be referring to. So we're going to hit System. Then we're going to put a period because that means we want to call a method from this class. We're then going to be calling out, and then we're going to be saying we want to print a line Okay, we're going to type in print line here. And this will then give us this will then print something out into the stream, into the console. There are, when you type here, Control and the space bar, and move over, you will see that there's quite a few print methods. In Java, it is possible to override the methods, which pretty much means within one class, you can have multiple methods with the exact same name. You will see, though, here that each one of these methods has a different set of parameters that it takes, different arguments. That's how Java tells the difference between the methods. We want, though, the very, very simple print line string. It really doesn't matter what you click as long as it's the correct name. We can always then go in here and we can type in what we want. So what we want here are the words "Hello World." What we want to do then is just go up here to this run icon, click on run, we do want to have it saved, and then it compiles, and then we see "Hello World" right down here in our console. And that's the Hello World program. Let's spice things up a little bit, though, and let's say we want to have our string up here. A string is text. Basically what a string is an array of characters. A character is one letter. So think of it as a string of characters, and then you can remember what it is. So we want a private string. We're going to name this string "Hello World," and then we're going to give it the value of "Hello World." Private means that this string, "Hello World," is only available in this class. We cannot access it outside of here. And now, what we can do here is rather than giving the text, we can give the variable. What's your problem? What is static? It's saying here that we cannot make a static reference to a non-static variable. What static means is that in its most basic form, that it is loaded. It doesn't have to be instantiated. It exists when the class is first called. So to fix this, we just have to type the word static, and there we go. Now it will work. We can run the program. And there's hello world. Now let's say we don't want this variable to be static. We want to be able to just do it, in all honesty, the proper way. What we can do is create a constructor for our class hello world. So let's get that done. Constructor is normally public, and we can then say just the name of the class. And then here we can take away the static name, and we can say, actually we can even take that away. Hello world in the very beginning doesn't have any sort of text. So what we can do here is say, in our constructor, hello world equals hello world. This then changes how we access our main variable. What we're going to have to now do is, in main, say hello world, which is our, in this case, the object name, and give it a variable, Bob, Bob says hi. New hello world. Okay? So, what we're also going to do is we are going to create a method print. In print, all what we're going to do is say that it should print hello world. That means that we can get rid of this line here, and we can write Bob says hi dot print, and this is now going to spit out exactly this text. It's going to look exactly the same. But let's say we want to make this even more complex, and we want to be able to say what hello world should say. So for that, all what we have to do is come out with a new constructor. And in this constructor, we're going to take one variable, string, not sting, string hello world text, and here we're going to say that this variable, hello world, is the same as hello world text. Pretty simple. In our constructor, or in our main method rather, we can now create another hello world object. Sally says hi, and we're going to say that that's equal to a new hello world object, only this time we're going to say the text Sally says hi. And then we want this, obviously, to print out its text. Pretty simple. So we're going to come up here, press run, and now we see that there were two objects made that print out hi or hello world. Again, this is pretty simple. Not much that you really have to worry about. There are more very basic objects that you should know about, such as an integer or int. And that's going to be equal to any number that is not a decimal. It does have its limits. It does have a lower limit. It does have an upper limit. I personally feel that that's going to be too much for this tutorial video. You can easily look that up online. There's also something called a double. Just call that dub, as in double. And a double has, first of all, a much higher range and a much lower range than an integer, plus it has the ability to take numbers that have decimal points. As I also already said, there is a character, or car, char, car, however you want to say it, and we're going to call this character, and we're going to give it the value of C. One thing to keep in mind, right here is our string, and see how I used real quotation marks, the double quotation marks, and up here for the character I used single apostrophe marks. That's very important. That's how Java knows basically the difference between what is meant as a character and what is meant as a string. In other languages that doesn't matter. Java does make that difference though. And those are the very basic of the basic objects that you can use. You really don't have to worry too much more about the others right now. Just for the sake of showing you that the print method can take all of this, we're just going to quickly print them all out. Integer. Again, I forgot the static calls. And we can just print them out. And then when we hit run, they're all going to be printed out right here. That's our very basic Hello World tutorial. If you have any further questions, any requests as far as tutorials that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments or send me an email at greg@readerprogramming.com, programming with one M. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.